Hello, social media friends. This is Beata Seweryn-Reid, and I'm here today with Jocelyn Bellows, Breakup to Wake Up Coach. Hi, Jocelyn.
Hey Beata, thanks for setting this up for us, and hey everyone in Facebook world, happy to have you guys tuning in.
Yes, we are so happy because we have special announcement. Yes,
Sure do. You want to take it away, or you want me to? You go for it.
Okay, so we are collaborating with Jocelyn, and in September we have something special for you. We are doing online 3-part workshop, and the subject is the topic is from limitation to liberation. We see I already screwed up. Anyway, from limitation to liberation. Oh my gosh, how exciting. 3-part, because we're gonna make a chunks of it so you can make it whole at the end and go for life, go with the whole plan, not just partially. We are not gonna focus on just touching the subject. We are gonna just do it with you, take your hand, walk you step by step. And the first one is in September 14. And we're going to talk about values on that day. And it's 5 till 8 p.m. So it's going to be 3 Mondays. It's September 14th, 21st, and 28th. But let's focus on the 14 and the values. That's Jocelyn, right. Why values?
Absolutely.
Just let me ask you, what is the most important value in life, and why is it important? How does it help you to live the life you have today?
You know what? I don't know that there is one specific important value for everybody. I think each and every one of us, and that's just what we're going to talk about in that first session on the 14th, is creating and defining your own values. Having said that, though, I have my own set of values that I've crafted for myself, and this was through some of the exercises that we're going to go through on that first session to understand who is the person that I want to show up to be, and not just beyond that, I went ahead and I actually defined them for myself. So it's not what the Webster Dictionary says. Like, I didn't go to the dictionary and said, oh, this is what authenticity means. I actually went ahead and defined it for myself. What is it that it meant to me? Because when you start to dive into that, the essence of who you are is not going to be what someone else tells you that you are. It's who you believe that you are, the person that you wish to be. Now, as much as I just said that, and I know you know this very well, we'll talk a lot about this as well, is we have, we've all been raised by a community, by our parents, by our family, by our friends, by communities that we've been raised in. So we've crafted our values kind of based upon what we've been told about ourselves from early childhood. And I also want to clarify with that, even though we've crafted ourselves in that way, there is the possibility to actually shift it to who we really are. And that's where we break away from what everyone else has told us what we're meant to be. And that's actually, we're jumping ahead into the vulnerability. But staying back on the values, we'll start there about, like, who are you? What is the person you want to be? And really basically that your values are the basic and fundamental beliefs that guide or motivate our attitudes or actions. They help us to determine what's important to us. They describe our personal qualities that we choose to embody to guide our actions, the sort of person we want to be, and the manner in which we want to treat ourselves and others and our interaction with the world around us. They kind of provide that general guideline for our conduct and how we make decisions. So I can keep going, but I'm going to let you step in here for a moment, and I'm actually going to go get my values because I'm going to share them live. So hang tight. You talk. I'll be right back.
All right. See, it's all live. So you cannot, fake it. So
I'm back, but go ahead.
No, I would like, it's beautiful what you are saying. And I want to just highlight that values, like you said, it's the foundation. It's the foundation for you and how you're going to show up in life. for me, because I ask you and you're gonna show it in a minute, but for me, the number one, and I struggle with it. I didn't know what really values means to me. Nobody teaches us that at school, not in the families, really, not really. We touch what is important, but when you're kid, nobody tell you what is your value, kid, or it's what should be. Anyway, my number one value is freedom, and the freedom in all aspects in life. And it starts with independent thinking, freedom of speaking, freedom of expressing myself. And yes, I had a challenge with that for a long time, and on the outside, you couldn't really say I was outgoing and you're like, oh, this is Beata. She is just going forward. But, deep down, I doubt it. So sometimes I was faking. I was faking my confidence. I was faking that I'm sure what I want. But then somehow the life is gonna get you and show you that you are not authentic to yourself, you are not living true to yourself. So I really stress so much my clients and my friends about fighting and deciding. It's in you know what is it, but if you don't go there, you don't say it out loud, you are very not sure about yourself. Usually the self-worth is very low. You think that you know what you want, but very easily you are going with the crowd and your friends is like, oh yeah, no, let's do this, and you don't really want to do it, but you are saying, oh, okay, they know better than me, yes, or they are better. So how is it for you?
Yeah. Well, first, so everyone out there in Facebook world, we have not actually, Diana and I have not actually sat down and talked about our own personal values. So it's interesting and by no means surprising to me that freedom is one of yours. And when I was listening to what you said about how you define freedom for yourself, what came up for me is one of my values, which is personal empowerment. And the way that I defined it is that I stand in my light and my confidence and my radiance and my power. What is mine? Now, I'm also going to go, and vulnerability is another one. Vulnerability is, the way I defined it was to share myself openly and honestly without pretense and be fully self-expressed. So I'm going to go for a moment here into vulnerability because I'm going to get vulnerable with everyone here. And Beata and you and I were just chit-chatting about this before we went live because, one of the things I've been sort of hesitant to share as publicly as I need to is what's been going on in my world for me the last several weeks, really. As coaches, we're here to be the guide and to hold space for others who are really working through their own stuff, right? But I can't speak for you. I will speak for myself. I actually just I just finished one group program. So I actually had 2 coaches on payroll until last night. I'm back to 1. I'm certain I'll have another one. There will always be more. Coaching is going to always be part of my world. But I've been struggling with my own voice. My throat's been tight. And I continue to dig into what is that for me, right? What is holding me back? And the reason I'm bringing this up, because it will bring into the personal empowerment piece, I realized that there were some pieces that were very heavily unresolved with a former relationship that I was in from 3 years ago, mind you. This wasn't like last year, it was 3 years ago. And it really resulted in me actually having a session with my coach just the other day where I was literally screaming at the top of my lungs, dropping the F-bomb, just getting it out of my system, right? And I don't like to be that person, right? That's not a person that I want to be. So I was even struggling within myself of getting this out, right? Getting this anger and aggression out because I don't really hate this person. I have some anger towards this person, but it's not his, it's mine. So I was actually limiting my own personal empowerment by not speaking it up. And as I was emoting this and getting out of my system, I could feel the energy in my body shifting. And I was stepping back into one of my values. So I want to bring that up because for two reasons. One, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to claim that I'm perfect. I'm not going to claim I've got all my stuff figured out. What I will claim, and what I will know, is I walk this path every single day. And that's why we want to bring this. That's what I want to bring this forward. I don't want to speak for you, Beata, but that's what I want to bring it forward.
Oh no, it's beautiful what you said, because, and especially you said that, I wrote it down even, that you are limiting your personal power. OMG, how important is, how many of you is limiting yourself? In, like, she screamed out with her coach for last couple of probably days.
I was screaming for an hour. My heart was hoarse.
Right. And how many of you out there is keeping it inside? It's eating you. You are tight. You feel it between your stomach. It's, for me, it's also between my throat and stomach. This tightness, this uncomfort, this something that you don't want. And we call it stress, but it is partially stress. But the other word for that is your true self is screaming, let me go, let me out, show me. So values, and I don't have much to add there, but values basically are letting you be who you are in your core, and also set the standards for the others, how you want to be treated. Because how many of you is letting others, to be, like I already mentioned, decide what is better for you, decide who you should be, what jobs you should do, what kind of fun you should have in life. You are just not, you are not free. And we all say, I want freedom in my life, but you don't have it, because you keep yourself locked in a prison that is not even yours.
It's so interesting. A dear friend of mine, Lance, posted this on, I think, Instagram, either yesterday or today, Instagram and Facebook. And it was this meme of a person in a jail cell, right? In an outdoor jail cell. And the bars that were being handed from other people. Yet the bars were actually his. The person.
Oh my God.
Right? It's our own. We're the ones who limited ourselves. We're the ones who did it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's just so spot on. And we do this time and time again. So this is why we're bringing for me, this is a really big reason why I wanted to bring this particular workshop to life. I want to stay on values though for another moment, because we're kind of keep going forward.
Yeah.
But the values is that foundation. It's giving you that ability to say, this is okay for me. This is not okay for me. It empowers each one of us to say yes, and even more powerfully, to say no. And I'm going to borrow this from a friend of mine who shared this with me a couple of weeks ago. And I thought, oh my God, this is brilliant. No is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and
I love that. So,
and if I can just add to what you just said, this, to say yes and no, of course, and do not feel guilty about any of it, because very often we say yes even we don't want it, or we say, oh no, I don't want, when your inside is like, oh, I would like to, and then you go home or you are alone and you feel guilty about your yes or no. What the heck, people?
that's a judgment. That's a self-judgment. And I can go down that road with Gabrielle Bernstein and Judgment Detox, if you're familiar, but that's a judgment on yourself. And we don't have, the best part about all of this is the more that we strip away into that, and the more we get to understand who we are at the core, those judgments start to just dissipate. Not all the time. I'm going to tell you, like, it's a practice, right? And you know this, and I know this, is that it's a practice that we have to start to observe our own judgments and observe those thoughts and how they're really, truly, actually independent of us, because they're our ego playing lovely games with our sense of who we are.
But also what you're saying, all of that is related to our beliefs. And you mentioned thoughts, beliefs that we were inherited on since the little kids. And that's why we don't know what our values are. We don't know how to stand up for ourselves. We don't know if we should say yes or no, or we are stuck in indecision. and we don't show up at all. We don't voice up what we really want. And we feel empty and we feel lost and we feel stuck. And then we have to scream out like you did, what is keeping you silent, what is keeping you in an action. And where I was going with it, I was going with it that very often we become people pleasers, yes, without knowing who we are and what is important. Because in other words, values is what is important to you. What is important to you, Jocelyn? What is important to me as Beata? But you have to get to know yourself to get to know what maybe back in the time was important to you, and you change because you are in a relationship or jobs that you believe that they have right to tell you what is important for you.
That's right. So values, I'm going to sort of give a synopsis of what I perceive values to really be. They provide the ability for us to define our own boundaries, to set our own personal intentions. They create a bridge of trust, in fact, because the more that you get to know you and you get to allow for you to love yourself and for others to love you, you're now creating that openness and opportunity for trust. They help to guide your decision, and they actually provide consistency in your life. So that piece about saying yes and saying no and knowing when it feels right, like the other part of this that we're not caught, well, I'll bring it to light, is knowing our intuition, like knowing what is good for us. And that's where values really come from. I mean, at the essence is when we know ourselves and trust our intuition, those values will align. Like if you write a word down that you think this is your value and you define it, and that doesn't feel good somewhere in your body, maybe you get a pain in your lower back, literally, like you get a pain in your lower back, or you get a pain somewhere in your body, or your throat gets tight, that's your body telling you, that's not your value. Go back and start again. And that's okay, right? There's a constant, churn of this.
And we all go through it. We go through evaluating, because some values that were important to you back in the time, maybe they are not so important right now, or maybe you thought it was your value, but you grow, you change. Yes, I know, change, scary word, but we all are changing. The world is changing. People around us are changing. And it's okay also to change what was important back then. And you are maybe on your next level in life, like you are on the next page. Sometimes like you are going back and clearing some stuff from the past still, but without awareness of your values, you probably would not go there, and you will be stuck and unhappy and full of heaviness, and the heaviness inside sucks.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Having literally screamed for an hour on Tuesday, no kidding. Like to take that a step further, I'd like to take a step further for what happened on Tuesday, even actually what happened today. So I actually meet with my coach twice a week. And so I had that session on Tuesday, and then Thursday I had a session with him this afternoon to sort of bring it all together. What were what have been the observations since that discovery on Tuesday, and what's happening now. Now, I also have a 6-year-old son that I have part-time, and he's actually right now playing. I'm surprised he's actually not on swing. But I had a half an hour with my coach today, and my child decided in that half an hour he needed to be in the space with me, in the room with me. And there was some sensitive conversation that I was going to be having, and I didn't want him to have access to that because I didn't want it to influence him in any way. Plus, it was some stuff, very deep stuff for me, right?
Right.
And I actually this is where I had to create a boundary. I told my son and asked him, I said, Mommy needs this time. You need to leave I need 10 minutes, right? Because he sat through 20 minutes of it. And, we were sort of ruminating, and I wasn't getting to where I needed to get to. Again, this empowerment piece. And so, as parents, and we'll layer it in for a moment, I'll come back out of parenthood for a second. But as parents, there's a piece that we kind of have this guilt factor of putting some limitations around your children having access to you, right? Yes, we can be there for our child. However, by teaching him that and saying, this is what I need, Now he understands that he has the empowerment for himself to say, Mom, I need this. I need space,
Absolutely.
quiet time. And so we have to like see beyond what other people may think about that and the other judgments that potentially can come from that. You got to do what's best for you.
And to what you just said, I just want, because I'm so focused on young adults and kids, because I think we still don't, there's a lot of awareness right now, but still some people still don't understand how important it is that the healthy lifestyle, it's, mindset and behavior, everything starts at home. And it's not because what you are saying, but because what you are showing to your kids, and in your case to your son. So healthy lifestyle, healthy relationships, it all starts at home.
Yeah, it does. And I want to go one step further. It starts with you, not just in home. It starts with you being healthy and happy with the relationship with yourself. And so this is why we start with the values, because again, it's who is the person you want to align yourself up to. So I had promised this earlier, and I'd like to come through with it. I want to share all of my values. And so I already shared 2 of them. Another one of my values is authentic, that I speak from my heart with no pretense.
Absolutely, yes.
Integrity, to be true to who I am, no matter the situation, no matter what. Because again, you sort of alight to this, like there are times when you say yes, sometimes you say no, and you're just like, oh, I'm saying that because maybe someone else wants me to say that, but I really don't feel right about this. That's where you get to stand in yourself and say, gotta stay true to who I am. Vulnerability, I already shared. Sharing myself openly and honestly without pretense and being fully self-expressed. And the final one, impactful, to incite positive change with the world around me through my thoughts, words, feelings, and actions.
Wow.
So and I'm literally reading them because I have them posted. Yeah.
Mine, I always focus on 3, but there is many, like there's not just couple. You can have as many important, values in your life as many you want. But so freedom in every aspect of my life, and making a difference in my own life first, and then others by acting, speaking, and walking my talk, basically. And also grow and contribution. Without that, I don't think that I could live, really. And we are talking about that to you today for those who just joined maybe. But before we finish, I want to just, admire everyone who is with me. Alfonso, he's always supporting me. Thank you so much, man. You are my favorite. Viva, thank you so much. Viva is famous recently. She is an author, life coach. Thank you so much for being with us. And Susie, my friend from Denver, love you, girl. Thank you. Shell, my sister from another mother and father. And we have Coco, my new friend. Actually, we are still getting to learn each other. So thank you so much for being here, all supporting us. And if you can, please help us to share with others that message, that we are, because of what is going on these days, we are so lost and we don't even know what is important anymore for who we are. We are so lost. Pandemic. Some of us work from home, some go, so it's so chaotic that we feel lost. A lot of people feel lost and don't know who they are anymore. So that's why we decided, from limitation to liberation online workshop. The part 1 is on September 14th, 2020. So in a couple of weeks, right? That's important. So you can find more details about that in a link that I'm gonna drop under this video, or you can just go to Event Tribe and look for From Limitation to Liberation online workshop, and we will give you all from what we learn. I have mentors, coaches, she has mentors and coaches, and they packed us full in knowledge and practices and tools, and we will share it with you, because sharing is caring, and it's what it is about these days. Yeah.
That's right. Beata, thank you so much for putting this
Absolutely.
together for us. And you guys, we're so excited to have you join us September 14th, 5 to 8 p.m. We're going to dig in deep. We're going to you're going to define your own values, and that's going to serve as the roadmap for moving forward.
All right. And soon we will be back with where we take you from values to the other step and the other step. So we will be back and talk about that more. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day, night, wherever you are in the world. You can sign up for this workshop also from wherever you are, not only from Colorado or Denver. So please stay with us, stay tuned in, and help us to spread the message. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.